Hey guys, it's Caleb, and welcome back to the Pink Side. So today I'm going to talk about something that I've kind of touched on in other videos, in other recent videos. But today I'm going to dedicate an entire video to the topic, and that's why domestic discipline relationships fail. Thousands of couples over the years have tried domestic discipline, been really excited about it at first, been really happy about it for a month, 2 months, but by the end of the third month, they're burnt out on it. I've seen this happen over and over again. And the reason for that is very simple. These couples were trying to spank their way to a perfect relationship instead of trying to spank their way to a better relationship. They were trying to spank their way to a relationship without flaws, which just isn't possible. Instead of trying to improve incrementally. This is what usually happens, and I've seen this play out over and over again, and I've made this mistake myself. What happens is a couple who's struggling in their relationship finds domestic discipline, either through a friend in real life or online or whatever. Generally speaking, it's going to be online. And they do some research about it, and they say, you know what, I want to try this. So they sit down with each other, right? After talking for maybe a couple of months with people within the DD community, the couple sits down with each other and they say, you know what? I want to give this a shot. So they sit down and they get overexcited. And what ends up happening is they come up with, basically they just make too many rules, is what it is. And so what happens is the man and the woman will be talking during this discussion, and the woman will start naming off not just the major things she wants to improve about herself, but every little thing she wants to improve about herself, right? And so as the guy is writing this down and taking this in, she keeps thinking of stuff. Oh, I want to be spanked for this too. And oh, I should be spanked for that too. And 90% of these things like really don't need a spanking, right? But they're in the midst of starting this domestic discipline relationship, and the woman's getting excited. And before you know it, by the end of the conversation, this couple has made, like 80 rules that the woman can be spanked for. And because they're in the moment, because they're so excited about starting a new journey in their relationship, adding this domestic discipline element, they don't realize the absurdity of what they're about to enter into. So they just go with these new rules that they've made for themselves, and what ends up happening is the guy ends up spanking her almost every other day for a few months, and this leads to failure in the domestic discipline relationship. The woman is being spanked way too much, so it's starting to affect her self-esteem. The guy is completely burnt out. And so it's usually the guy that ends up quitting on the girl. And then the woman gets disappointed. Well, he's not following, and starts going online and complaining that the guy's not following through. But, dude, you've got like 35 different things he's supposed to spank you for. He doesn't want to have you constantly over his knee. It's draining. When you're spanking a woman, as a man, when you're spanking a woman for a disciplinary reason, it's not fun. I know it's fun if you're going to go the kinky route, but I'm talking about real domestic discipline here. It's not fun. I don't want to say it's traumatic, but it's viewed like almost like a chore, right? It's just something you've got to do to keep the relationship harmonious, right? You don't want to be doing that every other day. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is a lot of men give up and they say, I just can't do this anymore. This is too much. Because they just, when the couple initially first sat down, they put too much on their plates, and the woman specifically, generally speaking, is the one who put all this stuff on the guy's plate. So the domestic discipline aspect of their relationship fails, and they leave the domestic discipline community and go back to their pre-DD ways. I've always said that there should be 5, 6, maybe 7 things tops in a domestic discipline relationship that a woman could get a disciplinary spanking for. You know what I'm saying? Because besides burnout, here's the thing. Even if you take the burnout out of it, if you spank a woman too much, one of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to break her spirit, or the spanking is going to lose its effect. And she's just going to be like, you know what, I'm going to do what I want because I'm just going to get spanked anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I want to stay on topic here. A lot of people who are new to DD set themselves up for failure because of that initial conversation. That initial conversation where the woman is generally trying to improve every aspect of her life. She thinks that DD is going to improve every aspect of her life, like right away. So instead of coming up with 5 or 6 main rules, she comes up with 25, 30, 40 different things that she wants him to spank her for. You know what I'm saying? And listen, there's times when it's the guy too, so I'm not trying to be like sexist here. But a lot of times it's the woman in these conversations that push things this direction. Because they think spanking is going to solve all their problems in a very short amount of time. And that's not true. So it's burnout. A lot of DD couples fail because of burnout. And again, it just goes back to that initial conversation that the couple sits down and they come up with just way too many rules, way too many things that a woman can be punished for. And it ends up burning them both out, especially the guy, to the point where the guy doesn't want anything to do with DD ever again. I've seen that hundreds of times. You know how many times I've been to message board and I've had guys message me saying, God, this is just too much. I can't handle this. I thought I'd be spanking her once in a while. You know what I'm saying? I'm whooping her every 3 days. I can't be doing this. You know what I'm saying? So the way to avoid that is to have realistic expectations when you're first starting out in DD. 5 to 10 things that are true, hard, fast rules that she could be potentially spanked for, right? And stick with those. I mean, you can always add stuff later. You can add elements later, but even then, there should never be just this endless laundry list of rules. But you want to make sure you're not taking too much on at once, because disciplinary spanking is intense, both for the woman and for the guy dishing out the spanking. So you want to make sure you're not putting yourself in a position where you're in that mode all the time. Now, if you just want to do fun spankings every day, kinky stuff, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about domestic discipline here. My suggestion to couples who are thinking about giving up on DD is to listen to this video, because if you're thinking about giving up on DD, this is probably why. The man is being burnt out, and the woman is probably expecting too much discipline too fast from her husband. And it makes things like unnatural and awkward and uncomfortable. You know, a real discipline session should happen naturally. It shouldn't be sort of wooden and created out of thin air. And I guess I'm going to close with, like, this is also the number one way that domestic discipline relationships become abusive. Because guys who stick with it, when a woman and the guy come up with these 80, 90 different rules, they kind of get drunk with the power. And bad things happen. So let's avoid that, guys. If you're thinking about starting a DD relationship and you haven't, listen to what I said today. And if you're in a DD relationship and you're always getting spanked, you got to ask yourself, is there too many rules here? Because eventually getting spanked and dishing out spankings all the time is going to burn you out. It might not happen sooner, it might be down the road, but it will happen. And when it happens, it can cause real damage to your relationship. I guess that's all I got for you guys today. So just think about what I said, whether you're thinking about DD or whether you're already in a DD relationship and you're new to DD, whatever it is. There's no hard and fast right way to do DD, but there's certainly a wrong way to do DD. And I just described that way in this video. All right, guys, that's it.